Hi, today I'd like to talk about the weaknesses that each personality types and how to improve them. Each personality type will always favour their first function over their last, so an ESTP with the functions SE, TI, FE and NI will always favour SE over NI, because NI takes practice for the ESTP to use. Hopefully these videos will help you to understand the strengths that your inferior functions can bring to the table and how it can help to give you a more well-rounded view of the world. This will be a little series of videos so I can break down the personality types into whether they are sensors, intuitives, thinkers or feelers. I will start with the sensors in this video, so that includes the ESFPs, ESTPs, ISFJs and ISTJs, which have SE or SI as their dominant functions. First up is the ESFPs and ESTPs. Their strongest mental process is SE, so NI comes less naturally to them. SE dominants can have a tendency to see people with intuition, especially on such a deep level as NI is, as intense, boring people who can't have fun and are too serious all the time, too busy planning ahead to enjoy the moment. But NI is important for ESFPs and ESTPs to begin using, because it helps them to see future consequences and the ramifications of the actions and decisions that they make today, as well as understanding the deeper meaning behind the information we gather with their senses. Here are a few weaknesses that ESFPs and ESTPs may struggle with due to not using their NI. They are so in touch with their immediate environment and so quick to respond to it that they can forget to evaluate the long-term implications of their actions. They may be so focused on buying a new gadget that looks really cool that they don't take the time to think that they may not be able to afford next month's rent if they do buy it. SE dominants may get so fixated on the details of the environment and the activities happening around them that they can forget to look deeper for the ulterior motives on what is happening behind the scenes, and they may be caught out by something that an NI dominant would likely have noticed straight away. NJ types, so the INFJ, INTJ, ENFJ or ENTJ, are useful to talk to get a better understanding of NI and its strengths, as NI is either their first or second functions. Here are a few tips on how to improve NI. Imagine your life without limits and roadblocks. What would that life look like? Write down things you could do to make that closer to reality. What could you do to attain that life? Spend some time each day in a quiet place with no distractions, so no phone or music. Let yourself become bored. Let your mind wander without direction and ponder lots of different topics. What do you imagine and think of? Do you get any ideas that can apply to your life that seem to come out of the blue? You can make this a little bit more specific and easier to do by thinking about a goal you are working towards and allowing your brain to come up with ideas on how to get you there faster. As someone tells you a story or talks about an experience, try to see the intention behind their words. Why are they telling you this? Are they trying to get you to see them or someone else in a different light, whether that's positively or negatively? Are there any other perspectives they might be missing? Are they only focusing on one side of the story? Or maybe they've missed out on a massive part that could change their perspective entirely. SE is an extroverted function, so spending too much time in NI can lead to restlessness or frustration and can become overwhelming. Don't push yourself too hard if you're finding it challenging to stay in NI. Do it for a little bit at a time and allow yourself to do something fun and light-hearted afterwards to keep the balance of learning to use NI but still allowing yourself to stay in your more natural SE. Maybe try one of these exercises whilst resting in between a sports match or physical activity. Now I'll talk about ISFJs and ISTJs. Their strongest mental process is SI, so NE is much more difficult for them to access. SI dominants can have a tendency to see NE as too out there and scatterbrained when they come up with so many new ideas but don't always follow through on them. NE can be really useful to ISFJs and ISTJs to help them see different ways of doing things, some potentially better than the way it's always been. By contemplating new ways of doing things, they will be able to decide if the trusted methods need updating, and to become less resistant to change, as it isn't always a bad thing. Here are a few weaknesses that they may find due to not using their NE. ISFJs and ISTJs commemorate special moments and enjoy establishing positive routines and habits. However, they can be skeptical of change and become stuck in these routines to the detriment of their own development. They can also shut down any new imaginative ideas they have, seeing them as too out there, where in reality they may be really good, useful ideas. Any NP type, so the ENFP, ENTP, INFP, or INTP will help you to see the strengths of NE and provide a better understanding of it, as it's their first or second function. Here are a few tips on how to improve NE. When you get a feeling that something is wrong, but you can't figure out what it is, pause and sit with that feeling. What could be giving you the feeling? Are there any patterns that you're picking up on that you can only realise with patience? Every now and then, stop yourself before you do something and consider if there are any alternative actions you could try instead. Instead of always taking the same route to work, could there be a quicker way if you took a left instead of a right? Give it a go one time. Look at any bad habits in your life. How can you use innovation to break these habits? Is there a new way of looking at a solution that would help you to be more motivated? Try brainstorming some different ideas to try, and make sure to add in some new ones that you haven't tried before. Look at a situation that is bad in your current life. How could you reframe that situation to see it in a more positive light? Try looking for the silver lining or the lesson that you can learn from the situation you are in. If you find yourself getting overwhelmed, take a break and maybe try some of these exercises in your favourite coffee shop whilst drinking your favourite beverage to provide a balance between exercising NE but also feeling comfortable in your SI. It will be natural to feel off balance even thinking about the idea of breaking those routines you trust, so take it one step at a time and start with something small first before you move on to anything bigger. In the next video I will talk about intuitives, so ENFPs, ENTPs, INFJs and INTJs. Thank you for your time.